Hi everybody, welcome to another video post from No Real India. This is a follow-up from the post which I did yesterday. Basically, I shared that the state of California is suing CISCO, the network giant, about about a caste oppression related incident. So basically, some of its employees who were from the upper caste have discriminated against other Indian employees who were from the untouchable caste, Dalits, also known as Dalits. As part of this video, I also shared why this is happening now. It is because of the influx of many more Indians now, and there being a critical mass where caste discrimination makes sense. And the other thing I had shared yesterday was around why it is important for people from the oppressed castes to actually not be defensive and wait for incidents like this to come up and then bring up this topic, but be on the offense, be in the position of sharing who you are in advance before incidents like these happen. Having shared that, I got a couple of questions from people. So there are actually mainly two questions. The first question was, well, how we don't have a platform, we are not educators of caste system, how do you think we can share this? We may not be effective. And the second question that they asked was, how do we approach it? Is there a simple way to do this? So I'm going to answer those two things today. So the first thing is, as a person of oppressed caste upbringing, you are enough. Your lived experience is enough. You are an educator. If you share about your life and how caste system has affected you and continues to affect you, then there you go. You are enough. Your story is enough to share and show that caste oppression happens, and it's your life and it is authentic, so that's good enough. You don't need to have a platform of thousands of people and have you don't need to have done like enough events and read X number of books by Dr. Ambedkar or something. So just know that your story matters, and please be open to sharing that. So that's the first part. The second part of it is, how did I go about it, and how did I make it simple for myself to share this story? Basically, what I would suggest is use opportunities to be authentic, irrespective of who you are talking to. Basically, introduce this topic when there is no need to actually. So while you're hanging out, having a lunch meeting with your HR or hanging out with them at the water cooler, if they were to ask you, hey, how was your trip to India? You can almost say, well, yeah, it was great, except that towards the end of my trip, I was a little upset with the news that was happening there. Migrant laborers were being very discriminated in this COVID era, let's say. And then you can then broach upon and say, well, migrant laborers are the lower caste people, so it adds another layer. That will give them enough things which they can relate to or be unsure of, so they can ask you questions. Similarly, they can also say, oh my god, I saw this so and so movie, it was so great, it showed like how lavish Indian weddings are. You can retort, you can get back to them by saying, well, that's how upper caste live their world, and they have the 7-day long weddings. Most of us who are oppressed caste people don't have the luxury of doing that. And then let that sink into the HR's brain or something. And then as they do that, and then they respond by saying, oh yeah, we didn't realize that, of course there must be poor people too in India. Elaborate on that and say, well, it's not just just the rich versus poor in India. You have to also add caste. And by the way, we have a lot of Indian employees here in our company. Do you know enough about caste system, just in case in future some disputes or something might happen on the basis of caste? And see, you already put the ball in the HR employees' court now proceed and ask you more questions. And throughout this conversation, the one I just kind of played out for you, nowhere was it necessary for you to define caste system, how long it's been, the intricacies of how it works, what are the different names of those castes. Nobody has asked you if you have done a thesis on Dr. Ambedkar or caste system. It was just what you shared, and this is pretty common. All of us know this. So I think that's how I want us to broach this subject. And then the next thing you can do is you can always have a template, and I have a template. I'll share it in this description. So I have this in person or over the phone or Zoom call conversation first, because that needs to be established. And then you tell the HR person that, hey, I can follow up on this with an email. It'll give you some little links where you can read about caste system in general, but also caste system, how anecdotal evidence and also real life evidence has been captured in America. Maybe you don't want to take it any farther than this. You've shared that. Give them resources to follow up on. Give them links and information about educators who actually talk on this topic. That way you can go back and do your work. You're not an educator, you don't do this, so you don't have to. Just step back, give some information as to Ambedkar organizations here in America. Let the HR then reach out to them. Or if you do have a connection, hook them up. That way maybe they'll ask them more questions. Maybe they'll have them on their phone numbers. That way, if an incident like this happens, they'll know who to call. Or they might even invite them to do a little presentation. Let that be between the HR and the educator who teaches about India and caste system. So that's a pretty simple way of doing that. And as you're walking away from the HR, you can also say, well, I mean, I would like you to keep this as a private conversation. You don't need to share this. I am from a oppressed caste community. I'm an untouchable. I'm a Dalit. I'm an SC. However you identify yourself, even share that with them. But then say, well, if any time you get to have a conversation with other Indians as to how you got to know about caste system, I would appreciate if you don't bring my name up. Just say that it's general knowledge. You learned it from somebody else or a prior employee. So there are ways where you can share what you know, but also step back and not be in the limelight. So, and now the HR has the knowledge. They have the homework to do in terms of learning about caste system. And if and when an incident happens in your office or somewhere, they are on the hook because you informed them. They can't deny and say, well, why didn't anybody tell me this? They have been told about it. And if they have not done any research till that time, then at least they will side on it. They at least know about it. And it's on them now for not doing their homework. It's their bad. So they will, that's for them to fix. I mean, obviously you can't force somebody to learn about something or not, but at least you can inform and share your side of the story. So that's there as to how you can approach and share things with your HR. The second thing within this particular topic that you can do is there are many savarna allies, caste Hindu allies who come to us and ask, hey, what can we do for you so that we show up for you and help you out? This is a great thing they can do. Instead of you and I having this conversation with the HR, tell the savarna ally guy, hey, you always want to help us out. When you go on, you make it a point to go on a lunch this week with the HR, and here's the email template for you for later. But broach this topic. Just tell the HR that, hey, by the way, we now see a lot of Indians here on our floor and stuff. Where Indians go, they take caste system, and then caste disputes might happen. So what are you doing to make yourself aware of this? They don't have much to lose. They are who they are. They're not going to be, what do you call? They're not going to be discriminated against or by the other caste Hindus, because there is nothing for them to discriminate because they are caste Hindus, they are upper caste people. But that's a good way to hold your allies accountable, ask them to do something for you and actually evaluate their allyship. So that's a second part. You and I don't need to do everything. There are these allies who want to help us out, so we need to be able to give them this opportunity to show and prove their allyship. So that's another way to go. So hopefully this helped. Again, as usual, I'm here on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're seeing this. I'm always available for a chat or to comment back and forth on the on this post itself. So please hit me up if you have any questions. Thanks, and hope this helps.